Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So in today's video we try to understand, right, what is the difference between endogenous and exogenous variables. So let's take an example. So let's take a model, right? So when we say a model, could be a linear regression. Okay, so if you look at the equation, right, usually it's a straight line, right? So when we say a straight line, this is the equation, right? So where m is the slope and x stands for input variables and y is the output or the target variable, right? C is the intercept and m is the slope. So in this equation, if you look at that, you can also write it in a similar fashion like beta naught plus beta 1 x1, right? And if we have more than one variable, we can continue beta to x2 and so on. So when we consider model, the parameters, right, beta naught, beta 1, beta 2. So beta naught is nothing but intercept, which is c, and beta 1 is the slope here, right, and it continues. So these are the model parameters. When we say we're trying to build a model, right, our core objective is to find these model parameter values. Okay, so this is the general idea. So there are two components basically, right? We're talking about two components. One is endogenous variable, endogenous. Let me continue here. Endogenous and exogenous. So to understand these concepts, let's take a marketing example. Okay, so let's say sales, okay, sales of an ice cream, or it could be sales of any product. For the time being, let's say sales of shoes. Okay, let's take count of or the number of shoes as a target variable. Now if you take what are the variables, right, that are affecting the sales of shoes now, right? There could be a lot of features. So by default, when you just sell, right, when let's say you have a physical store, so you have just placed the shoes and randomly customers walk by and they purchase if they like the shoes. So here you are not doing marketing or promoting or promotional activities, right? So when you do not perform any marketing or spend on ads, right, call it as baseline sales or base. This is nothing but your intercept or the y, or sorry, c, right? Without any promotional activity or nothing, you are doing this. Then comes, let's say we'll be taking only two of the marketing features. Let's say x1 is your ad spend on TV, that is TV ads, television. Now x2, for the time being, let's just say that x2 is your, let's say you also have an online store, okay, and website visits, right? This could be one of the component. So there is a possibility that, right, a customer might visit your site and you can purchase. Now if you look at these two variables here, right, so try to figure out whether these two variables are endogenous or exogenous. Okay, now let's just try to understand the flow pattern. So initially you try to display your ad on TV, right? Now as soon as you display your ad on TV, right, it's not that customer goes to your store and purchase, right? There is a scenario. Now if he wants to buy online, right, then he would visit your website, right? He would visit your website, for example puma.com, right, and then he would purchase, and then there would be a sales. So this is your x1 and this is your x2. Now if you look at that, these both are related here, which you are trying to include in your model, right? So this is not a ideal or optimal solution, because the variable x2 here, right, website visit, it's also affecting your x1 and vice versa, and it's an intermediate result. If you look at website visit, it's an intermediate, right, intermediate step between your TV ad spend and sales, your final. So here website visit, or the x2 variable that we are trying to consider, is a endogenous variable, right? Now, so what is an endogenous variable? The variable which drives your another variable. So my x2 is driving x1, right, is known as endogenous. Whereas if you look at x1, right, so ideal scenario would be either you should consider only x1 or x2, but let's say since I'm interested only the TV ad spend, so I would like to know how my sales are being addressed based on the TV ads. So in this scenario I would only take x1 and try to figure out what are the sales. I'll not be taking x2 because it's an endogenous variable. Okay, then what is exogenous variable? So exogenous variable is that particular feature which is an external factor, right? It's some external force that is acting on your model. For example, weather change, right? So weather change has nothing to do with your marketing spend, right? So weather is affecting your sales. How? Right? For example, let's say it's a rainy day, right? So since it is a rainy day, the number of footfalls on your physical store might reduce. That might in turn reduce your sales. So it's an external feature, we call it as exogenous variable. Okay, so hope the things are clear. Thank you so much.